can keep essential services going while we get through the pandemic. Some of the measures, Mr. Speaker, are difficult and not what we would choose to do in normal times. For instance, the bill will temporarily modify mental health legislation, reducing from 2 to 1 the number of doctors' opinions needed to detain someone under the Mental Health Act because they pose a risk to themselves or others. In circumstances where staff numbers were severely affected, the bill allows for the extension or removal of legal time limits governing the short-term detention of mental health patients. The bill also allows for an expansion of NHS critical care by allowing for rapid discharge from hospital where a patient is medically fit. Permitted to delay continuing healthcare assessments, a process that can take weeks, until after the emergency has ended. The people who need this support will still receive NHS funding in the interim. The bill contains powers allowing local authorities to prioritise the services they offer, as we discussed earlier with relation to social care. And this prioritisation, while challenging, is vital. The measures would only be activated in circumstances where staff numbers were severely depleted. They do not remove the duty of care to an individual at risk of serious harm or neglect. We do not take any of these measures lightly, Madam Deputy Speaker. I hope that many will not have to be used, but we will do whatever it takes to beat this virus.
All the Secretary of State being very generous. On the point of frontline care, particularly those working in intensive care units around the country, can I ask the Secretary of State again, press him again, when will those staff be tested? There are many staff that want to go to work but are afraid that they may be carrying the virus. And those that are at work, if they're tested, they have the virus, they want to go and isolate in order that they can return as quickly as possible to the front line. When are they going to be tested?
As soon as the tests that we're buying are available, and expanding testing is absolutely critical to everything that we're doing. Madam Deputy Speaker, the bill also other mission critical parts of public services, not just the NHS, including schools, borders, justice and national security. The bill empowers schools, for instance, to respond pragmatically to this situation, including the ability to change teacher ratios, to adapt school meal standards and temporarily to relax provisions for those with special educational needs. The bill also gives the Home Secretary the power to close and suspend operations at UK ports and airports, powers that will be deployed in circumstances only where staff shortages at the border force pose a real and significant threat to the UK's border security. It expands on the availability of video and audio link in court proceedings, so justice can continue to function without the need for participants to attend in person. And to ensure that the Treasury can transact business at all times, the bill makes it possible for a single minister or Treasury Commissioner to sign instruments or act on behalf of other commissioners. At a time of unprecedented social disruption, it is essential also to maintain our national security capabilities. The bill allows temporary judicial commissioners to be appointed at the request of the Investigatory Powers Commissioner, and for an increase in the maximum time allowed for an urgent warrant to be reviewed from 3 to 12 days. This means that vital investigation warrants can continue to be issued, and our security services and police can continue to protect the public. And I'll give way.
Secretary of State for giving way, and on the key points of people with mental health problems being signed off by one doctor, and the question of children with special needs, and a loosening of the regulations around that, what measures can be put in place, perhaps by local authorities or by others, so that there is a review mechanism on those two very important, crucial points for vulnerable people?
Well, clearly, these are issues of the highest sensitivity. It is important that we take these measures in case they're needed in the circumstances where staff numbers available are low, to make sure that we can get these the support needed as appropriate, and make the interventions that are sometimes difficult to make, because it can be in some circumstances far worse, for instance, not to detain somebody under section in the Mental Health Act, whereas where they are a danger to themselves or others, and if there isn't the availability of a second doctor because of staff shortages because of the virus, then I think it is appropriate. But the safeguards are an important part of getting this right, and it's an important part of why this is time limited.
He's been incredibly generous. Section 23 talks about food supply chains, absolutely crucial, and he'll have seen that many supermarkets are taking on additional workers to meet the demand that's there. But whether he could provide an answer or get one from the Treasury, I've had many people who are thinking of applying for those jobs, perhaps to make up loss in income. So even if they're covered by the 80% wage subsidy, whether they're able to take on extra work, or they would lose the 80% wage subsidy from their existing job. Could you get some urgent clarity on that, because it could be deterring people from taking up those important jobs in our supermarkets and supply chains?
Well, that really is a question for the Treasury. My understanding is that the 80% wage subsidy is for those that are furloughed, as the Chancellor put it, as opposed to those who've moved into other jobs. But he'll have to ask the Treasury for a more detailed answer. I'll give way over here.
Can I thank the Secretary of State for giving way, and also for all the work that he is doing, and indeed the House is doing, with regard to this essential legislation. Can I ask him, with particular regard to university settings? Seems to be some confusion. I've looked at the sort of Universities UK advice, but it seems to be that some universities just don't seem to be following this, and seem to be requiring students to attend, notwithstanding the advice the country at large may be given.
I'm surprised to hear that, because we've been very, very clear about universities alongside schools. Of course, it's a matter for my right on from the Education Secretary in the first instance, but on the public health grounds, we made it absolutely clear that we were taking steps to close schools and nurseries and universities and colleges, except for the children of key workers, where they absolutely need to be at school, where they, for instance, need a parent can look after them. But all those at university and don't need a parent, and so I don't think there's any excuse whatsoever.
I'm extremely grateful. Our local authority, the new Unitary Box Council, has made the point that workers who are furloughed in leisure centres may need to be redeployed into other council areas where they couldn't normally be employed. This raises a particular problem, that they really need to use the furlough scheme, take those workers out of the leisure centres and put them into social care. Quite a different industry. Will he undertake to make sure that that is possible?
I don't think it needs a legal change in order to do that, because to essentially second somebody from one job into another is perfectly possible under existing employment law. In fact, the bill brings in a statutory volunteering scheme, which is essentially a new form of employment through volunteering, which is one way that this could be done. But I wouldn't expect it to be the main way, because if somebody was moving to do a different type of job, because we need more people doing some things and fewer doing others during this crisis, that sort of secondment could be done in an entirely normal way, unless I've misunderstood my other friend.
Well, he's slightly misunderstood, and I hope you won't mind me saying so. The point really is that all councils will be hemorrhaging money at this time, and they will need that 80% support with those workers who they would otherwise furlough, so they can then use them as volunteers. The point is to constrain cost.
I'll take that up with the Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'll give away one more time and then make some further progress.
I thank the Secretary of State for giving way. Whilst we understand that these are exceptional circumstances, there is understandably grave concern about the lowering of social care standards. We are talking about some of the most vulnerable in our society, the elderly and disabled of all ages, and having the human rights, the Convention on Human Rights as a backup, could see care standards lowered to a dangerously low level, putting these people at risk. Could the Secretary of State outline what would be the thresholds for turning these powers on, and indeed back off again, to ensure that these do not become the new norm?
The threshold is about the amount of staff shortages that there might be, and I would gently, Madam Deputy Speaker, say to the Honourable Lady, I understand her concerns, but in fact the purpose of these is precisely the